Number one of the equations you're going to have to get a variable by itself. It doesn't matter if it's x or y, whichever is going to be the easiest. Number two, you're going to substitute that expression into step one's equation. Step three, now that new equation that you have will have all of one variable in it. We'll solve it. Four, substitute the solution into step three. No, I would say step one. Cross out step three, make it step one. That's the better choice, trust me. 5, write the solution as an ordered pair. 6, check by plugging your solution into both equations. All right, so all those steps, here we go. Let me give you an example. Solving by the substitution method. As I look at these two equations, I notice, hey, my second equation already has y by itself. Take the 5x, substitute it in for y of the first equation. That's going to give you x plus 5x equals negative 36. Combine the two terms. That gives me a 6x. You can solve for x by dividing negative 36 by 6. You get a negative 6. Then take that first step equation, y equals 5x. Now we put negative 6 in for that x. 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. There's my solution. If you want to check it, negative 6, negative 30, combines to be negative 36. Negative 30, 5 times negative 6, negative 30. 7, again, notice the second equation has the y by itself. So now we take all of negative 5x plus 33 and we put it into the first y. That gets you x minus 3 times negative 5x plus 33 equals a negative 19. Distribute the minus 3. Make sure you change the signs on the 3 times 33. That's going to be a minus 99. Combine like terms give me 16x. Okay, get your calculator. Let the calculator do the work here. 99 gets added to the negative 19. Okay, that's 80. Take the 80, now divide it by 16. That's a 5. Take that the step 1 equation, the one that has the y by itself. Take the 5, plug it in for x. Negative 5 times 5 is negative 25 plus 33. If you want your calculator to do that work, that's fine. It's 8. There's your ordered pair. Number 8. Here, notice that we don't have a variable by itself. But I'm going to, again, choose the second equation, and it looks like to get x by itself, that would be the easiest thing to do because all the other variables have a coefficient being multiplied to it. So I'm just going to add the 4y over to the minus 26. Take the 4y minus 26 and put it into the first equation's x. 7 times 4y, 28y. 7 times, get your calculator for this one. 7 times negative 26 looks like minus 182. Add the y terms together. 28 plus 8, 36y. Add over the 182 to the 34. So 34 plus 182, 216. Divide by 36. Y is a 6. Now take this equation where x is by itself. Take the 6, plug it into that y. 4 times 6 is 24. Minus 26 is negative 2. There's my solution. Now be careful. Sometimes people, when you solve for y first, then you go for the x, people don't write it as 6 comma negative 2. Remember, find your x, put it first, find your y, put it second. Number 9. Both my equations are in y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to take the second 8/3 x minus 84 and put it in for that y. Now, normally, we like to say, well, I need to move the smaller x term. Well, you could do that, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get those common denominators. So 3 doesn't go into 5, so multiply that together, it's going to be 15. So this fraction multiplied by 5 over 5 to get 15 in the denominator. So I multiply the 8 times 5, that will make it 40 over 15x. Over here, to get 15 in the denominator, I multiply top and bottom by 3. That gets me 9 over 15. Now I can clearly see this is the smaller x term. Subtract it over to 40 over 15. 40 minus 9 will be 31 fifteenths over x. Minus 84 equals negative 22. Okay, get your calculator ready. Here we go. Add the 84 to the negative 22. You get 62. To get rid of the multiplication of a fraction is you multiply by its reciprocal, 51 over 31. All right, 15's cancel, 31's cancel. Oh, look, 31 goes into 62 twice. 2 times 15 is 30. There's my answer for x. Pick one of your two equations. I'm going with the first one because 84 is just too big. Put 30 in for x. 5 goes into 36 times. 3 times 6 is 18 minus 22, negative 4. There's my solution. So there's our substitution method. Now, our elimination method, here what we want to do is both your equations are pretty much going to be written in standard form. So what we want to do is, as we have them lined up, we want to have your x terms or your y terms to be opposite of each other, because we're literally going to add the two equations together to make a single equation that we can quickly solve for and take that answer and plug it back into one of the two original equations. So you can look at all these steps, but if we watch an example, you'll understand these steps. All right, so you're going to choose a method. We're looking at elimination right now. Again, when do I want to graph? Well, if I got everything in y equals mx plus b, that might be something quick and easy to graph. Substitution, when you got one variable already solved for. Elimination, both in standard form. Here we are, both in standard form. Notice that my y's are opposite of each other. So I'm going to add the x's, I'm going to add the y's, and I'm going to add the constants. And that's going to give me a brand new equation. 2x plus negative 4x is negative 2x. 3y plus negative 3y, that canceled out. And 5 plus negative 13 is negative 8. Divide negative 2 over into the negative 8. Negative 8 divided by negative 2, x is equal to 4. Bada bing, bada boom. There, we just solved for x real quick. Now take one of the original equations. Personally, I have the x already. Look for an easy x term. This one's positive. I'm going with this one. Try to stay away from negatives. Take the 4, put it in for x. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract the 8 to the 5. That gives you a negative 3. Divide by 3. Y equals negative 1. And there's my solution, 4, negative 1. All right. Kind of get the pattern. We want to get opposite terms. Number 11, here we have 1x minus 4y equals 22, negative 2x plus 2y equals negative 14. All right, so what I want to do is I'm going to take this first equation and I'm going to say, you know what, if I just multiplied that x term by a 2, these would be opposite. But I can't just multiply the x term by 2, I got to multiply everybody by 2. So I'm going to line this up right underneath it. Here we go. Take that whole entire first equation and multiply it by 2. That will give me 2x minus 8y. 2 times 22, 44. Now they're opposites of each other, so now I can add them together. They're going to cancel out. 2y plus negative 8 is negative 6y. Negative 14 plus 44 is 30. Again, let your calculator crunch the numbers. Okay, now that I got the 30, divide by negative 6, y equals negative 5. Now, pick an easy equation to work with. I'm trying to solve for x. That's the easiest x. Take the negative 5, put it in for y. Negative 4 times negative 5 is going to give me a positive 20. Subtract the 20 to the 22, we get 2. There's my solution, 2 comma negative 5. Now remember, your solution is a point. If you see the answers this way, individual text boxes, that's just the computer programmers being very lazy. Number 12. All right, here we go again. We're going to do the elimination method. I'm looking at everything to work with here. I got negative 2x minus 4y equals negative 14. I like this one because I can say, well, we can take and multiply negative 2x by a 4, and I can get this 8x. I don't like the y's because the signs are the same. So I'm going to work with these two. So seeing that I got to multiply 2 by 4, I am going to put that equation first, multiply by 4, and then quickly line it up underneath the 8x minus y. So negative 8x minus 16y, again, calculator, 4 times negative 14, negative 56. X's cancel. Negative 1y minus 16y, negative 17y. 39 minus 56, negative 17. Divide by negative 17, y is 1. Okay, now, what equation should I work with? Well, since y is 1, that's pretty easy. I'm just going to substitute it into this y, because then I don't have to multiply anything to it. I just got to add the 1 to the 39, make it a 40. Divide by 8. 40 divided by 8 is 5. There's my ordered pair. So if they give me just this text box, you got to type in left parentheses 5, comma 1 parentheses. 13, solving this system by the elimination method. Well, darn, 3 doesn't go into 2, 2 doesn't go into 3, 4 doesn't go into 7. Oh boy, get your calculator ready. We're going to do a lot of multiplying here. Since the 3 and the 2 are the smallest coefficients, and I know they're already opposite signs, positive 3, negative 2, I'm going to multiply to make these into a 6. Don't go over here, because then I got to multiply the 4 by a 7 and the 7 by a 4. That's going to be 28. Numbers get too big. So first equation, multiply by 2. Second equation, multiply by 3. So I'm going to draw arrows over to my new equations. 2 times 3x, 6x. 2 times minus 4y minus 8y. 2 times 35, 70. There's my first equation, all multiplied by 2. Second equation, 3 times negative 2x minus 6x. 3 times 7y plus 21y. 3 times negative 45, get your calculator if you need it, negative 135. Add those two together, the x terms cancel. Negative 8 plus 21 is going to be 13y. 70 minus 135, negative 65. Take negative 65, divide it by 13, you get a negative 5. Now we need to pick an equation over here. What's going to be the easiest to work with to solve for x? Keep your x term positive. I'm going with the 3x. Also, putting in a negative 5 being multiplied to a minus 4, that makes it a positive 20. Subtract over the 20 makes that 15. Divide by 3, x is 5. There's my solution, 5 comma negative 5. All right, 14. 10x, 9x, both positive. Probably want to stay away from this because I'd have to multiply by a negative. 7y, negative or minus 5y. Signs are opposite. Okay, let's multiply the first equation by the 5. Second equation gets multiplied by the 7. That will make these two opposite. So, okay, get your calculator. Big numbers coming. We're going to have 50x plus 35y, 5 times 27, 135. 7 times 9x, 63x. 7 times minus 5y, minus 35y. 7 times 13, 91. Okay, add the columns together. The y's cancel. Oh my goodness, 113x and 226. Well, thank goodness. Divide by 113, x is a simple 2. All right, who to work with? Let's go. This is going to sound crazy. Work with the 10x plus 7y. I'm solving for y. The 7 is positive. This one's a minus. I want to stay away from negatives. So I'm going to take that equation. 2 times 10, 20. Plus 7y equals 27. Subtract over the 20. 7y equals 7 means y is equal to 1. So my solution is 2, 1. All right, when you see some application or word problems, they're pretty much going to be a system of equations. The admission fee at an amusement park is $3.50 for children and $15 for adults. On a certain day, 306 people entered the park, and the admission fees collected totaled $2,336. How many children and how many adults were admitted? So this is going to be tough because you have to build the equations. First things first, look at what we have for the question. How many children and how many adults were admitted. Well, how do we find that out? We count the tickets. Okay, so we're going to make a ticket equation. I always call this first equation an object equation. It's some kind of objects being added together. I used C for the children, A for the adults. So I used my first letters to abbreviate it. There was 306 tickets sold. Best equation to have because all these have ones in front of my coefficients. The second equation you create has to now do with the money. All right? I like to call it a rate equation. My rate is in dollars. My rate of $3.50 for a child's ticket. Multiply 3.5 to the C. $15 for an adult ticket. Multiply 15 to the A. Total money, $2,336. So there's my setup. We're going to take the object equation. Which variable do I want to cancel? Look who's got the smallest value. 3.5 is smaller. So we're going to multiply this by a negative 3.5, and we'll line it up right here. So negative 3.5c minus 3.5a, and negative 3.5 times 306, get your calculator, and negative 1,071. Add together, the c's are going to cancel. Negative 3.5 plus 15 is 11.5a. Negative 1071 plus 2336, 1265. Divide by 11.5 into 1,265, and here's the best part. You can't get a decimal answer. It has to be an integer. You did sell a third of a ticket, or 0.67 of a ticket. So A is 110. Put that into the first equation where we know we had 306 tickets sold. Subtract over the 110, we get 196. So there was 110 adult tickets that were admitted and 196 children that were admitted into the amusement park. 16. Sometimes they're going to give you the equation. This is great. You have a supply equation and a demand equation. So a little bit of supply and demand here. N is the number of items the supplier will produce at a particular price in X dollars. There they are. In this situation, what is the selling price when supply and demand are in equilibrium? That means where will these two lines intersect? Okay, take this 7x plus 45, put it into that n, since that's what capital N equals. All right, negative 4x is the smallest. Add the 4x over, that makes it 11x. Subtract over the 485, that gives me 165. 650 minus 485, 165. Divide over the 11, x equals 15. The price is $15. What is the number of items in the market? Supply and demand are equilibrium, so find n, take the 15. I would take this equation because it's all positive terms. Plug the 15 in for the x, 7 times 15 plus 485. Just type that just as you see it into the calculator. You'll get 590. All right, 17. You are offered two different furniture sales jobs. The Furniture Barn offers you a job that pays straight commission of 4% of sales tax. The Furniture Warehouse offers you a job that pays $390 a week plus 1% of sales. What I would be interested in is how much sales do I have to do so I can find out which job is the best. So we're going to set these two equal to each other. So Furniture Barn, that's going to be my pay, P, equals 4% of my sales. So 4% out of 100. 4 divided by 100 is 0.04 times S for my sales. Furniture Warehouse says you start with $390 and then we add 1%. 1 divided by 100 is 0.01 and multiply it by S. So we got to solve this system. Take 0.04S, since that's equal to P, put it in right there. All right, subtract over 0.01S, that gives you 0.03S, equals 390. Divide by 0.03, you have to have $13,000 in sales to find out that these two jobs are equal in pay. Well, if it's a slow week and I don't hit 13,000, then I probably want to have this job because I'll get paid more. If I go over 13,000, then 4% of the sales, the other place would pay better. And that wraps up 4.0.